Hello everyone and welcome to Investment News TV. My name is James Burton and I'm here in Denver at Schwab Impact 2025. I'm delighted to be joined by Warren Pierson, co-CIO at the Baird Funds here in Denver. Warren,
Great to be here with you, James.
Us.
Yeah.
All right. Tell me a bit about, from your perspective, the bond market right now. Where are we at?
Yep, we think there's really good value in the bond market for investors, but it's primarily the level of interest rates. I contradict myself as a professional bond manager saying it's not necessarily a really exciting time to be a bond manager because the opportunities aren't like pound the table really attractive, but the overall level of interest rates, the bond market has provided good value, good returns to investors this year. Yields still look pretty attractive, so we think there's good value, but we think it's a time for investors to be kind of cautious overall, not take too much risk.
Where are you seeing the opportunities? You say it's kind of steady, not slim pickings, but where are there opportunities?
Well, the Treasury yields look good, and we're overweight nominally investment-grade corporate bonds. Yield spreads are historically pretty tight, but yet, the fundamentals still support those tight spreads. So we like investment-grade credit. We're nominally overweight. We're taking more of that exposure a bit shorter on the yield curve. There's some good opportunities in securitized. We like some of the AAA-rated, most senior CMBS, some non-agency residential mortgages. We're seeing pockets of value, but again, it's not a pound-the-table value, but we still think there's some pretty good opportunities. Municipals still represents a pretty good value as well. So the nice thing for investors is they can get good value without taking a lot of risk. And indeed, we don't think they should be taking a lot of risk at this juncture.
What are you hearing from advisors? What's the feedback you're getting in terms of what are they looking for their fixed income allocations?
I think they're looking more for stability. The demographics in America, we have an aging population. A lot of the boomers are retiring. So I think the demographics are a favorable, backdrop for fixed income. A lot of people are retiring. And I think, in their investing career, they've maybe had, higher exposure to equities. But now as they're, turning those 401ks, rolling them over into an IRA, looking to preserve more of that. So I think there's more of the desire for stability in fixed income. And again, the nice thing is interest rates relative to where they were 3 or 4 years ago look pretty attractive.
Global investing, global investments is a theme that we've been hearing a lot about at Investment News. Now, I know you primarily focus on the US. So I just wonder what your take is on maybe some of the talk around diversifying from the US, and obviously in particular, whether that applies to the bond market.
Yeah, and we're a little bit biased, but we think some of the best opportunities are right here in the US. I think part of the reason for the attraction to global is the story in the dollar. The dollar's declined a bit. Non-dollar assets have done really well. Have outshadowed U.S. assets. So I think that's where the focus is right now. But on an ongoing basis, we still think, the level of interest rates in the U.S. is pretty attractive compared to other opportunities. And just while the U.S. economy, there's some question as to how fast it can grow, it's been surprisingly resilient. And we think the U.S. is still a global leader. At the end of the day, we think investors still probably find the most comfort right here in the U.S.
Final thought, Warren. Message to advisors out there, our readership, in terms of the bond market, maybe some of the challenges or things that we've mentioned there that they're looking for. What's your message to the advisors?
Yeah, I think a message to advisors is there's good value in the bond market, but don't take too much risk. We see a lot of people looking at private markets, which we understand, giving up some liquidity, but they're doing it at a time when those spreads are pretty tight. We're not saying that you can't make money in the private markets or other alternatives, but we would kind of keep it down the middle of the fairway. Use a golf analogy, something I'm not very good at doing, by the way. But just, you're not paid to take excessive amounts of risk. So I would think, keep your clients inside their normal risk parameters. It's not a time you want to be way over your skis in terms of the risk profile. And there's probably better opportunities coming down the road, but this tight spread environment could last for a while.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money coming into the bond market. Fundamentals look pretty good. So just kind of stay the course.
Warren, thanks so much for your insight.
Thanks, James.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much.